In an ideal suburb, people start disappearing, and no one asks unnecessary questions. An ordinary man finds himself drawn into a conspiracy that hides behind the facade of a paradise life. Every decision is a choice between safety and truth, between obedience and freedom. But when fear stops holding back, a real battle begins for what is truly important. Don't forget to subscribe and like so you don't miss new stories. Tom, did you forget there's a meeting today? Diana's voice came from the kitchen, which smelled of coffee and fresh waffles. I didn't forget, Tom said, adjusting his tie in the hallway mirror. But I was really hoping you'd change your mind about going. It's the HOA, honey. They don't take kindly to not having a quorum, especially when you still have a flamingo on your lawn. It's an artistic accent. It's a pink plastic nightmare, Tom. At least someone stands out on this block. Diana snorted, handed him a mug of coffee, and glanced out the window. Outside the perfect lawn, neighbor Ron was trimming the bushes with a laser level again. You know, she muttered. Sometimes I think these people have watering timers instead of hearts. They're just people, Dee. They like order. They're order fanatics, and I wouldn't be surprised if one day they came and confiscated our doormats. Oh, come on, I don't think anyone… There was a knock on the door. Really? Tom opened the door. There were two people standing there, a woman in a beige cardigan and a man with a clipboard. Good morning, Mr. Brenner. We are the Maplewood Ridge Visual Harmony Council. Excuse me, what? A division of the HOA. We are responsible for maintaining aesthetics. And you don't like my flamingo. We prefer the wording disrupts the compositional purity of the area. It's a plastic bird. It doesn't bother anyone. It bothers us, the woman spoke for the first time, with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. And we think it would be easier for your wife to explain this. Diana came closer. I'm sorry, but I don't have to… It'll only take a minute, the woman interrupted and took a step forward. It's better to get this settled right away. Tom, it's all right, Diana said. I'll be quick. Close the door, okay? The door slammed shut. 5 seconds later, Tom realized that nothing was right. Wait, Diana? He rushed to the door. The yard was empty. No sign of a car, no sound. Just a starling on a wire and a pink flamingo glistening with morning dew. Diana! He ran out into the street, looking around. The neighbors were mowing their lawns as usual. One man was walking his dog, but Diana was nowhere to be found. He rushed to the car, got in, started it, drove to the end of the street, turned onto the main road. Empty, no cardigans, no tablet, no trace. When he got home, he walked around the house. He looked into the backyard. He looked into the basement. Then he looked into the flamingo's eyes. You saw it, didn't you? He whispered. You saw it. He called the police. Could your wife just leave? No. She went to talk to the HOA. We'll call them. I'll go there myself. The HOA office was locked. There was a sign on the door. Lunch break. At 10:47 a.m., Tom called the city council. No one there had heard of the Visual Harmony Department. He called the local police station. They promised to pass it on to a detective. He wrote to the neighborhood chat. 0 responses. When he returned home, he noticed that the flamingo had disappeared. No, this won't do. He knocked on the door of his neighbor on the right, Owen, who always wore shorts and knew everything about yoga and preference. Owen, have you seen Diana? Or those fanatics with the tablets? Owen looked at him for a long time, too long. Then he nodded into the house. Come in. Sorry, what? Just come in, and don't touch anything. Tom walked inside. The house smelled of sandalwood and almond cookies. The walls were decorated with photographs of Tibetan monasteries. A cat sat on the carpet, apparently an undercover agent. Owen clicked on the bookshelf. It slid back. Behind it, a staircase leading down. Is this a joke? No, Tom, go. He took a step down. Oh my God. What is this, a bunker? Technically, yes. but we call it the Free Mind Center. Are there monitors, tablets, transmitters? This is the operations center, and Diana is an agent. What? The CIA? My wife? You thought she knew so much about security systems just because she loved locks? Tom sat up, or rather, fell. But she works at a law firm. She's a front. She makes lasagna on the weekends. Agents need to eat too. Holy shit. Exactly. Owen. Tom froze, struggling to find the words. Are you serious right now? This isn't a prank? This is Maplewood, Tom. Even the pranks here are HOA certified. Owen turned on the screen. Look. A map of the area appeared on the monitor. Each building was marked and labeled, neutral, under surveillance, undercover, threat. Tom's house was green. Karen's house was red. Who is Karen? Gloria Kramer, head of the HOA, officially a fighter for clean facades. Unofficially, the coordinator of a pressure group called Harmony 12. Funded by unknown investors, they buy up neighborhoods, infiltrate communities, and subjugate residents through fear, fines, and manipulation. So, it's not just control over the grass? It's control over everything. First, they monitor the color of mailboxes. Then they start implementing their own rules, hiring their own officers, like those who came to you today. But Diana? Why was she taken away? She's been undercover for a year and a half, conducting surveillance, collecting data. Most likely she was exposed, or almost, and now they're trying to either recruit her or eliminate her. You say this as if from a textbook, because you are from one. Until 2014, I coordinated operations in Latin America, then cover, now yoga and reconnaissance among barbecues. Tom stood up and began to walk around the bunker. This is madness. All this? He pointed at the screens. My neighbors are agents? Some are just observers, and some are sleepers, before the command. Oh my God. And the flamingo? It was equipped with a microphone. It sent a signal to the aesthetics base in the basement of Karen's house. I put it there because I wanted a little color and gave us an entry point. Thank you. Tom fell silent. Everything inside him screamed, "Run!" But something that had been sleeping stirred. How can I help? Seriously? She is my wife. If this is all true, I will not leave. Owen looked at him. Then listen. Tonight we meet at Bob's house, officially the delivery guy, unofficially our contact. You'll meet the others there, and the rescue plan. A rescue plan, just like in the movies. Only here everything is real. Bob's house was hidden behind a hedge, his garage smelling of pizza, WD-40, and conspiracy. There were already 3 people inside, a gray-haired man in a mailman's uniform, a young woman with a hat and a laptop, and another with gardening gloves and a sharp gaze. It's Tom, said Owen. Diana's husband. We heard. The postman nodded. Our condolences. She's alive, Tom said curtly. I know that. And that's good, the woman said, because what we need is someone unexpected. Who are you all? I'm Bob, delivering letters and rumors. I'm Sasha, cyber support. And I'm Martin. I work with the Earth, literally, digging and installing sensors. What about Diana? We've got her bracelet. The signal is weak, but she's in the basement of the HOA building. The defense is up. We need to disable the security network and create a distraction. And it will be me? Exactly. You'll show up at the tenants' meeting tomorrow, right in front of the entire neighborhood. Demand a report. They're more scared of publicity than a drone with a camera. While they're busy, we'll go in. What if I get caught? Then we'll move on to plan B. What's it like? We'll improvise. Wonderful. Tom sighed. What should I say? Everything you've wanted to say for a long time. That you're all fed up. That you're not slaves to lawns. That the neighborhood isn't a regime but a home. That sounds pompous. And now it's necessary. Late at night, Tom sat on the porch. Above him were the stars. In his hand was tea, and next to him stood a flamingo, alone, but no longer useless. He looked into the darkness. Diana, I'm coming. And now I know who you were, the real you. And me? I'll become you, at least for a day. And at that moment, everything inside became clear, as if he had just woken up. Not a housewife's husband, not a joker at a barbecue, but a man ready to tell the truth and be heard. Are you sure you can handle it? Owen looked at Tom intently, adjusting his clear lens glasses. Of course not, Tom answered honestly. But I'm still going. Good answer. If you'd said yes, I'd have started to worry. The morning of the meeting began as usual, with the smell of coffee, birds singing, and Jeff's neighbor wiping down his mailbox with alcohol. Tom, he called cheerfully. There's a meeting today, don't forget. Oh, I won't forget. Tom smiled and waved his hand. I'll have just what to say. The meeting was held at the Harmony Community Center. The building, which looked like an elite kindergarten, concealed a security system, face scanners, and a server room, which, according to Sasha, was protected by the Peace Perimeter 4.1 system. The main thing is not to look around, she reminded, handing Tom a thin earpiece. Just walk, talk, and don't try to be a hero. And if I've already become one by accident, then be a convincing hero. The lobby smelled of bleach, fresh-baked cookies, and anxiety. People were sitting in plastic chairs. Everyone was perfectly coiffed, wearing neutral colors, as if their clothes had been HOA filtered. In the center, she sat, Gloria Kramer, her hair in a perfect bun, her smile like a pastor preaching to a kindergarten class. Welcome, dear residents. She began with a microphone in her hands. Today we will discuss important aspects of the life of our beautiful region. Tom felt his palms grow sweaty. Easy, Bob whispered into the earpiece. We're with you. And we will also make a proposal to ban garden figurines that do not correspond to the natural palette. This is my moment, Tom muttered, standing up. Excuse me, Gloria. Yes, Tom? Her voice was warm like poisoned tea. I'd like to make another motion. Okay. I suggest a report. A report? On the HOA's activities over the last 2 years, on finances, on contractors, on the cameras we have on the streets, and possibly on missing residents. The room froze. Someone started coughing. Someone stopped gnawing on cookies. Tom, that's not quite the format. I think that's exactly the format, he interrupted. If we're here for order, then it's time to establish it within the association itself. You weren't at the last meetings, Gloria said, still smiling. Now I'm here, and I don't think I'm the only one. Several people in the room nodded, slowly but noticeably. What's the matter, Gloria? Are you afraid that we'll find out where our monthly payment goes, or why the surveillance cameras belong to a company called Arcus Vector, registered in Panama? She stopped smiling. Tom, I would ask you to explain why my wife disappeared after talking to your representatives. Tom, that's enough. Her voice broke. You're disturbing the order. No, Gloria, I'm restoring it. At that moment, Sasha's voice sounded in the earphone. We've entered. Scanners are offline. Proceeding to level 3, confirming presence of female matching description. How is she? Weak pulse, alive. Proceeding to evacuation. Keep them on you for another minute. You all thought I was just a husband, just a neighbor, just a fool with a flamingo. But I've seen more than you think, and now I know, under your smile are cages, under the reports, a shadow, under the lawns, fear. Gloria stood up slowly, her voice soft again. Tom, I understand you're worried. Losing your wife is a shock. I didn't start worrying when she was taken away. I started worrying when I realized we'd all been living in a cage, just with a nice landscape. It's time, Sasha whispered. We're leaving. Be ready. I demand a full audit of the HOA, Tom continued louder. And until then, I'm suspending my participation in its events. And I advise everyone to think about this. Where does concern end and control begin? Someone applauded behind him. Then another. Gloria turned, her face sharp as a chisel. She took a step toward Tom, but the door to the hall swung open. Everyone stay where you are, a female voice said. Diana, in a black jacket, with a split lip, but standing like a general. We are leaving here, and the truth is, leaving with us. Gloria tried to move, but Owen was already standing next to her with the remote control in his hand. Take one step, and I'll turn on the presentation mode. The cameras will show everything on your kitchen screen. Yes, even how you forged the protocols. This is madness, Gloria croaked. This is the end, Tom said. The beginning of another Maplewood, without fear, with flamingos. We're leaving, Diana said. Everyone who's with me is following me. The rest can continue to be afraid, or wake up. And she walked away, across the hall, past Gloria, past the applauding residents, past the fear, and behind her, Tom. They left the room to a roar of voices and muted applause. Not everyone stood up, not everyone supported, but the air was already trembling with change. Tom walked next to Diana, trying not to look at the cut on her cheek and the handcuff marks on her wrists. She walked firmly, but limped slightly. Are you sure you can go? He whispered. I endured 36 hours of interrogation with PowerPoint presentations. I can handle it. Presentations? Yes. About harmony in the area, with graphs. They tried to break me with aesthetics. At the exit, they were met by Bob with a walkie-talkie in his hand and his signature smile. Dear fugitives, everything is ready. The car is at the back exit. Where is Sasha? Asked Diana. She is at the server, copying all the data. She said she wants to give Karen a public biography. She is stubborn, Diana grinned. Have you met? We once took the same courses at Cambridge. She chose cyber support. I chose intelligence. Nice company, muttered Tom. Footsteps were heard behind. Gloria, without protection, without a mask. You don't understand, she said. You'll ruin the balance. This neighborhood was a model of order. The crime rate was 0. Everyone paid their taxes on time. No one made noise after 8. Is that bad? It's a dead calm, Diana replied. People don't live out of fear. They live out of freedom. People don't want freedom. They want security. No cameras in the toilet, thank you, Tom said. Gloria took a step closer. You don't know who you've gotten involved with. We all know. With the HOA, registered as a charity, but in fact, controlling dozens of districts, with a system of fines, a system of surveillance, a system of pressure. We maintained the ideal. No, Diana said quietly. You destroyed individuality. And now it's over. Sasha came out of the corridor with a flash drive in her hand. Everything is ready. Video, voice, reports. I'll send everything to the morning news, the city prosecutor's office, and just in case, to the Instagram of the local fitness club. There are more subscribers there. Thank you, Diana nodded. Ready for evacuation? More than enough. They walked toward the car, an old gray Toyota that Owen had once disguised as a fertilizer delivery van. We won't get far, Tom muttered, looking at the rusty wing. But at least they won't suspect us. I'd rather believe that this car doesn't move at all. Diana sat next to her. Bob and Sasha sat behind. Are you okay? He asked quietly. As long as you're around, yes. And I thought you'd protect me. You protected all of us today, Tom. I was just saying what I've been wanting to say for a long time. And that's the power of it. The van slowly drove out of the yard, passing flower beds, cameras, and silent neighbors standing by the fences. Do you think they will take revenge? Asked Bob. Not right away, answered Sasha. The blow was strong, And most importantly, it was public. Now, if they go on the attack, everyone will see. And if they don't, then we've already won. Diana closed her eyes. Tom put his arm around her shoulders. I'm sorry I didn't believe before. You did. You just didn't know what for. But now I do. And I like this world, even if it is a little crazy. She chuckled. This is just the beginning, Tom. We will have normal days? Sometimes, between operations. He nodded. Then I'll start getting used to it. Sasha pulled out her tablet, connected to the car monitor, and turned on the video, footage of the hall, the faces of the stunned HOA members, screenshots of payments, wiretap maps. All accompanied by cheerful music, old jazz superimposed on police files. You're also an editor? Tom was surprised. When you live undercover, you learn everything. Can I have a copy? Of course, for the family archive. The car stopped at a forest belt. Change of transport. Bob will get on a bicycle. Sasha will go towards the canal. Diana and Tom to the old hut by the lake, where a CIA helicopter will pick them up. Sounds like a plan, Tom said. An almost ordinary Tuesday, Diana chuckled. Will we ever have a house, with flamingos, a hammock, pizza on Fridays? Yes, but maybe in Finland. Why Finland? Because there's no HOA there. Suitable. She took his hand. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being there. They disappeared behind the trees, leaving behind a false order, fake smiles, and a power built on fear of garden sculptures. And in the silence, a lonely flamingo remained again, but this time with a flag. Are you sure this isn't a hotel? Tom looked around the house from the slanted veranda, the rusty metal roof, and the crookedly nailed "Silence is Peace" sign. This is a temporary isolation base, Diana answered, unlocking the door. My colleagues used to live here before their legends burned down. Very inspiring. Cleaner inside, and they have coffee. What about the internet? Tom, this is a base. If there was internet here, they would have bombed us by now. The house greeted them with a cold floor, a creaking staircase, and the smell of wood, damp after the night's rain. Diana first checked the windows, looked to see if the soil near the foundation was moving, and only then allowed Tom to sit on the old leather sofa. Can I just ask you now the question that's been bugging me since you pulled that gun out of the planter? Go ahead. How many people in my past were fake? Nancy on 3rd Street isn't fake. She just really likes baked goods. And the others? Well, Jim, who fixes boilers, is really a money launderer for retired agents. Jesus. And yes, Mrs. Lee, whose pizza you once dropped, is my contact. Tom covered his face with his hands. Then who is real? You. Me. Maybe the flamingo. She smiled, for the first time since their escape. And all this time you... Undercover. Yes. But that doesn't mean the rest was a lie. And when did you find out you'd been exposed? When I started getting unstamped letters. That's a sign. Letters? Unstamped. From the HOA. Inside were quotations from the charter and an offer to meet on neutral territory. Sounds like the mafia. The HOA is the mafia, only with garden shears. Tom stood up and began to pace nervously. And you... Did you ever regret it? That you went there? To be a spy? I regret it. No. I was tired. Yes. I wanted a simple morning with coffee and a newspaper, every day. But then you brought me coffee. And a newspaper. And still returned to the world of codes and eavesdropping. Because if not me, then who? He came closer. And now, for the first time in a long time, I have a choice. What will you choose? First, a shower. Then, a plan. They shared a modest dinner of canned food and rice heated on a camp stove. How did you even learn to cook all this? Tom asked, chewing carefully. On one operation in Bolivia, we were fed only beans and tea. Since then, I can cook from anything. Even from thin air? Almost, if you add a pinch of survival to it. The next morning, Tom woke up early. He went out onto the porch. The air was still, thick, and warm. He took a notebook and a pen. He began to write, "My wife is not who I thought she was, and that makes her even cooler, damn it." "Are you writing memoirs?" Diana came out in a sweatshirt with a mug of tea. Quickly, trying to figure out what's next. "I can help. We'll get new documents. We'll leave. To a country where HOA is just 3 letters. And if I don't want to leave, then I want to stay and do something with this place." Tom: "No, listen. If we just run away, they'll change the sign, elect a new dictator with Interior and Control magazine, and carry on. And you want to fight? I want to be the one who puts up the flamingo and stays. It's dangerous. And you've always loved dangerous men, haven't you?" She laughed. "I've always liked men with balls, and now I think you even have armor. It's Bob's jacket. It still works." At that moment, the radio rang. Sasha speaking. "Communication restored. We have a reaction. A vote was held in the area, an emergency one. The HOA is going to declare a state of emergency." "What's that even like?" Tom asked. "They're activating the internal protocol. Police cooperation, access restrictions, information filtering, possibly a purge of old elements. That is, us and everyone who's on our side." "How much time do we have?" Diana asked. "If everything goes according to their plan, a day." "So we have 24 hours to change the rules of the game," Tom said. "If we have a day," Tom said, "then we need a strike. Powerful, precise, beautiful." "This is not a movie," Diana answered, pulling on her gloves. "There can only be one strike, through their communication channels. Without them, the HOA will become blind. Do you know where they are?" "I have a guess, but I need confirmation." Sasha responded on the radio almost immediately. "They have a landscaping club on the southwestern outskirts. It looks like a greenhouse. In fact, it's a routing point. I picked up a signal. Everything goes there. Cameras, internal chats, complaint processing." "So, we're going to the greenhouse?" asked Tom. "In white gloves and with pruning shears," nodded Diana. "They'll never suspect." "I'm allergic to geraniums," he muttered. "So he'll be wearing a mask." 2 hours later, they were already standing at the entrance to the greenhouse. A glass dome with humid air and the smell of fertilizers inside. Behind the counter was a woman in an apron and holding a sign. "Ficus Consultant." "Good afternoon," she sang. "Are you here by appointment?" "Of course," Diana replied. "We're going to the Harmony in the Roots master class." "Great. Come to Section C." Section C turned out to be a small hall with plastic chairs, pots of earth, and a mini stage. In the corner, there was an inconspicuous door, closed with an electronic lock. "Are you sure?" Tom whispered. "Yes. That's where the power comes in." "How do we get in?" "You're still wearing the HOA bracelet, right? The one I hate? It may be useless, but its chip is a master key." She passed the bracelet over the lock. Click. The door opened slightly. "Welcome to the Nerve Control Center," Diana whispered. Inside were servers, screens, wires. Cameras scanned the streets, sensors scanned movements. On the monitor, someone had just complained about the excessively yellow daffodils outside 41B. "This is crazy," Tom whispered. "They monitor the shades of colors? And the height of the picket fences, and how fast the trash gets taken out. This isn't a neighborhood, it's a digital gulag." Diana approached the terminal. "I need 3 minutes. Hold the door. If anyone comes in, say you're from the mulching department." "What's that anyway?" "The main thing is to be confident." While she entered commands, Tom looked at the panel. In the corner, a red light was blinking, Initiating protocol R5, filtering residential areas, removing violation objects, intercepting communications. Diana. I see, they've started. Will you make it? Almost. Still. Here. Signals started disappearing one after another. Cameras froze. Chats disappeared. The system started glitching. We took out their eyes. What about their ears? Coming soon. I put a loop on the router. In 15 minutes, all they'll hear is forwarded calls to the lawnmower service. They left quietly, as if they had just replanted a ficus tree. What next? Tom asked. We go back to the others. Now we can act. It was hot in Bob's basement. Sasha was tinkering with the wires. Martin was checking the map of the area. Owen was drinking water from an aluminum flask. How did it go? Asked Bob. Great, answered Tom. Their surveillance is turned off. We have a window? How wide? Asked Sasha. Maximum 12 hours, answered Diana. Then the system can switch to backup mode, or they will be saved by external access. So we need a mass exit. What kind? People, everyone. We'll go outside, everyone who is tired, everyone who has been waiting. It's a risk. It's a chance. We will show. The neighborhood is not a toy. We are not servants. Martin put the card on the table. Here is the HOA loudspeaker. We can reroute it. Sasha, can you do it? I'm already writing the script. And what are we going to say? Asked Tom. The whole truth, without embellishment. People may not believe it. Then let them see. Sasha pulled out the flash drive. We have video, cameras from inside. Interrogations, surveillance, everything. And you want to show it live? In every house, through TV and their HOA mobile app. Owen nodded. Then tomorrow at 7 or. All screens are our voice. All streets are our steps. And if they come out against it, then we will not retreat. Tom looked at everyone. They will expect me to remain silent. And you? I will be the first to speak. Aren't you afraid? Diana sat on the edge of the bed, pulling on her boots. Terribly so, Tom admitted, but I'm more afraid that everything will stay the same. What if they find us again, take us away again? Then you'll pull me out again. Or I'll pull you out. Deal? She nodded. Agreement. The morning was gray. The sun's rays had not yet broken through the treetops. Maplewood Ridge, where even the clouds seemed to be in a formal arrangement, was quiet. All the shutters were closed. All the lawns were level. But in the underground garages, in the kitchens, in the tool sheds, a new day was quietly beginning. At 6:42, the screensaver appeared on all the TVs in the area. The HOA logo, as always. But 3 seconds later, the image flickered. The screen went black. Tom appeared. No tie. With a direct look. Behind him, the same hall where Gloria Kramer used to lecture on harmony in purity. Good morning, he began. My name is Tom Brenner. I live at 12 Plume Lane, and I am one of you. He spoke calmly, confidently. The camera did not shake. I was the one who didn't complain, the one who paid his dues, the one who mowed the lawn, the one who nodded at meetings and laughed at fines because those are the rules. I kept quiet when they told us where to put the trash cans, when they banned Christmas lights. I thought these were small things. I was wrong. Diana, watching the broadcast, squeezed his hand in hers. My wife disappeared after a meeting with HOA representatives. I thought it was a mistake, but it was a system, designed to make us afraid to speak, to think, to live. Sasha's voice came through the earpiece. We have 82% of devices connected. Retransmission in progress. Continue. We discovered, Tom continued, that behind the facade of aesthetics, there were cameras, wiretaps, and a whole network of control, covered in a layer of mulch. We were forced to live by a script, under threat of a fine. But you know what? He paused. We are not a picket fence. We are people. We are streets with names, not just numbers in a database. And today, we say, enough. The picture changed. The footage began. Interrogations. Quiet rooms. A woman in a cardigan with a cold voice. The table where Diana sat, exhausted but unbroken. Tom's voice continued. This is not an accident. This is a system. But we have a choice. Today, at 7, we are gathering in the central square. Without banners, without weapons. Just going out. Together. Because silence no longer saves, and fear no longer holds. The screen went black. 7 sa. Silence, birds, gates open. Mrs. Lee came out first, the one with the pizza. Next came Martin in gloves. Then came a family with children holding a sign that read, I love my lawn, but I love my freedom more. They're coming, Diana whispered. They're with us, Tom answered. Faces peered out of the windows, some with distrust, some with hope. Someone was standing by a car, someone with a dog, but everyone was looking in the same direction, toward the square. Owen came up with a walkie-talkie. The cameras in the area are turned off. There is no surveillance. They don't know how many of us there are. And that's good. That's great, because fear loves numbers, and we love force. The square was filling up, quietly, but surely. Where's Gloria? Tom asked. Barricaded herself in. By herself? No, with the rest of the Harmony Council. What will they do? Wait, be afraid, or come out. At exactly 7:13, the doors of the HOA Center opened. Gloria came out, in a formal suit, no makeup, with a paper in her hands. Tom, she said loudly, you are disturbing the peace. We have our voices back. You have no right to hold unauthorized meetings. We are tenants. This is our home. We have a right to the street, to speak, to the pink flamingos. It's illegal. What you did is illegal. Control, coercion, pressure. It's all over. You will regret it. We already regret it. That we remained silent. There was a clap from behind. They clapped. One, then another, then the whole square. People who had once whispered complaints about a fine for a bicycle against the wall were now applauding, for themselves, for each other. And the silence disappeared. What time? Tom asked, holding up the earpiece. 6:58, Sasha answered. Get ready. We're going live in 2 minutes. Are we sure we want to play this for everyone? For everyone? Even Mrs. Hawkins from the third house? Especially her. She writes 20 complaints a day. It would be useful for her to know who's been watching her all this time, too. Owen walked over to the loudspeaker set up near the central lawn. It works. Your speech, Tom. We're doing this for real. What if I forget what to say? Then say what you feel. Tom took a deep breath. The curtains rustled in the distance. 7 las. The signal went out. On every screen, in every home, in the HOA app, Tom's face, taken with a regular camera, no filters, no background. Just him, the real him. Good morning, neighbors. This is Tom Brenner. Yes, the guy with the flamingo. Pause. I know this is unexpected. I know you are used to other screens, to rules, fines, reminders about the color of the curtains. But today is a different day. Because today we are telling the truth. At the same time, loudspeakers began to turn on throughout the area. Martin started the signal manually. Sasha coordinated via radio. We learned that our neighborhood is not just a place, it is a system that monitors, fines, and scares. A system that took my wife when she questioned Harmony. A system that teaches us to fear flamingos, but to remain silent about fraudulent elections. On the screens are videos, hidden cameras in HOA halls, footage of listening devices, charts of residents, scores. People started taking to the streets, first one, then two, then entire families. We are not pieces on a chessboard. We are people. And we can take back what was stolen, the right to be ourselves, the right to speak, the right not to be afraid of the color of the fence. The phones rang in the HOA room. Gloria Kramer stood by the window in her robe, looking out at the crowded street. And for the first time in years, she didn't know what to say. Today we are not going out against anyone. We are going out for ourselves, for freedom. For a reality without cameras in every mailbox. Diana took Tom's hand. "It works," she whispered. "Do you think so? See for yourself." People were standing on the lawns. Some were holding a sign that said, "I'm tired of being afraid." Some were saying, "Flamingos are residents too." Some were just looking at the sky. And if you still doubt, just go outside. Look around, and you will see. You are not alone. We are together. The sound turned off. The screen went dark, but no one left. "What now?" Tom asked. "Now we see which of them makes the first move," Sasha answered. "Or a shot," Owen added gloomily. "They won't wait," Diana said. "Today, it's us." At that moment, Gloria came out of the HOA house, in a formal suit, but without security. Too quiet. "I don't like this," Tom whispered. "I'll go to her," Diana said. "Are you crazy?" "I have to. This is my war, my neighborhood, my shadow." She went to Gloria. Tom was nearby. "Do you want to talk?" Diana asked. "I want to understand what you did. We told the truth. You divided society. We showed that it was already divided. We just turned off the sound." Gloria looked around. "Is this the end of the HOA? This is the end of the HOA as it is. But you can be part of the new, without fear, without control. Are you asking me to stay? No. We are asking you to leave with dignity." Pause. Long. Silent. "You'll regret it," Gloria said, "when chaos comes again, when someone parks a car on the lawn." "Maybe. But it will be our chaos." "And who will watch it then?" "Us. Ourselves. Without cameras." She turned around and left. The crowd was silent. And then they applauded. Not in unison, not on command, but because they wanted to. "So what now?" Owen asked. "Now we start building the neighborhood again," Tom said. "With flamingos, with noisy children, with vibrant colors. Without cameras?" "Without cameras." Diana grinned. "Now you'll have to take out the trash without being reminded." "I can handle it. At least it's free." The crowd dispersed slowly, but with a sense of something new, fragile, real, their own. Sasha turned off the last broadcast channel. Martin buried the old HOA tablet under a flower bed. And in the central square, someone put up a sign. "Welcome to the neighborhood where everyone's voice is heard." "I didn't think silence could be so loud," Diana said, standing by the window. "Especially when everything was under surveillance before," Tom replied, sipping his cold coffee. "Even the morning birds were afraid to chirp without HOA permission." The house was surprisingly alive. People in the rooms, conversations in the hallways, the smells of food in the kitchen. It seemed to them that a whole week had passed, but in fact, only a day had passed since the broadcast. After the words, after the truth. "Someone's already left," Bob said, entering the room with a folder in his hands. "3rd Street is almost empty. 40% of the residents have left the area." "Forever?" Sasha asked. "Or for a while. Some couldn't take it. They lived by someone else's rules for too long." "And the others?" "They stayed. They walk around, they talk, they argue. They're alive, finally." One even took down the sign, Harmony Square. He put up a sign that said, Common Sense Avenue. Diana smiled, but her eyes were worried. "This isn't the end, you understand." "We understand," Tom nodded. "But this could be the beginning. They won't leave it like this." Karen disappeared, but she had connections, access, money, and enemies, Sasha added. I got a letter this morning, no address, no signature. There was just one word. Coming. It's nice when they remember you, Owen noted with a grin. We need to figure out what's next, Diana said seriously. We have the support of the people now. We have the resources. But we can't remain in limbo. You suggest power? Martin asked. A neighborhood council 2.0? I suggest protection, transparency, accountability. We need to create a structure that won't allow the cage to be built again, even under the guise of freedom. That sounds complicated. Everything real is complicated, Tom. He nodded and ran his hand over his face. I'm not a politician. I'm an ordinary guy who put a flamingo and got into a spy series. But you spoke the truth when no one else dared, simply because you couldn't remain silent any longer. Sometimes that's enough to start changing everything, Diana said quietly. The next morning, they gathered in the square, the same one where the HOA screen used to hang. Now there was an old-school projector, and instead of the usual tables, there were people. No script, no moderators. We don't claim power, Diana began, but we are willing to take responsibility, temporarily, until everything becomes truly open. The crowd listened in silence. Then they began to nod. We want to propose a transitional council. It will include you, representatives of the streets, residents, those who want to participate, not to manage, but to coordinate. What about the rules? Someone asked. With the ban on satellite dishes and colored curtains? We will propose an update to the charter, together, and we will adopt it by vote, direct, without filters. And if someone tries to take over everything again, then you will already know how it begins and what it looks like. We just opened our eyes, and then you yourself. Tom walked up to the microphone. I didn't want to be a hero. I just wanted to live, but it turned out that even for an ordinary life you have to fight. We've been silent for too long. Now, enough. Silence, then claps, first from behind, then from the side, then the whole circle. Those who are for, stay. Those who are against are free to go, but without fear. Now everything is different. Diana looked at him. You did it. Only because you were standing next to me. No, Tom. You learned to stand on your own. The crowd hadn't yet dispersed when the first calls started coming in. Some neighbors were whispering into their phones, "We didn't know that." Some were shouting, "I saw it all." And some were simply looking up at the sky, where a drone that had once belonged to the HOA was now filming everything for a future film, tentatively titled, How We Stopped Being Convenient. They might come back, Tom said as he, Diana, Sasha, and Bob stood behind the Maple Brew coffee shop. They will come back, Diana corrected. No, they might not. They will. Just not in the open anymore. When do you think? In a week, in a month, maybe in a year. The HOA is like a virus. It goes into the shadows and waits. Then maybe we shouldn't leave. What do you mean? We burned the root. Now we have to watch it so it doesn't grow back. Tom, I'm not kidding. Sasha came up to them. In her hand was a flash drive. It's all here. Videos, recordings, internal correspondence. I didn't send everything, just part. The rest is for us. Blackmail? Diana grinned. A guarantee. You've changed. And you. All of us. Owen came over with 2 glasses of tea. He handed one to Tom. You're a hero now. Please don't. It's too late. Your flamingo is already printed on stickers. Really? There will be t-shirts tomorrow. They laughed, nervously but sincerely. What's next? Bob asked. A district meeting, Diane answered. A real one. No HOA, no hidden agendas. Who's running it? Tom. He almost choked on his tea. Me? You. You spoke first. You showed that it was possible. People will listen. I don't. You are our voice. He looked at her, at Sasha, at Owen and Bob. Then I need to say something. The meeting was scheduled for Sunday. No ties, no microphones, no soft music, no HOA-branded cookies. Just people. With children, with dogs, with thermoses and table chairs. Tom stepped forward, his heart pounding. I am not a politician, not an organizer, and until recently I was just mowing the lawn, arguing with my wife about why we can't leave the flamingos, and thinking that HOA was just an acronym. But it turned out to be fear. It was a system that made us smile not because it was good, but because it couldn't be otherwise. He paused. Someone nodded. We have proven that we can speak, that we can face the truth. That order is not fear, but respect. Not a rule, but a choice. And now we have this choice. He raised his head. I'm not asking you to follow me. I'm asking you to walk with me, so that the next time someone tells you what your house, your lawn, or your life should look like, you know you can say no. Diana stood in the shadows, her face calm. Sasha was filming everything. Owen held up a cardboard sign. Freedom is purple violets. Well? He asked when Tom returned. I don't know. It seems to me that for the first time I spoke without fear. Then everything is right. A month later, the neighborhood had changed. The cameras were taken down. People started saying hello. Some started growing strawberries. Some started painting graffiti on the fence, on schedule. And some even invited Tom to a barbecue. Do you miss the adrenaline? Diana asked one evening. Sometimes. But now I know where it's been all this time. Where? In every word I was afraid to say. And now? Now I speak. I speak and I live. She nodded, resting her head on his shoulder. On the porch of their house, there was still a flamingo. Only now, with a small sign on its neck, this is just the beginning.